I think that what I ended up writing about most is family experiences, whether fictionalized or in memoir form or in essay form in some family magazines about either teaching or raising children. And then I wrote a memoir about our life together when we went to Africa to get married in 1969. I now often write for national children's magazines on the subjects of nature, but made into a read aloud story so it can be read to children and they learn from it. And I love that a lot. When I write, I feel like it's something organic that I'm bringing to fruition, just almost like planting a seed. Like when I start to write, I usually have one seed sprouting in my mind. And I build off of that, and I pull in this, I pull in that, just like when you're making a flower bed, you know, you add things to make it look the way you want it to be. And you want it to be organic, like it's growing the way it should grow and not something forced upon it. Sometimes he and I have a little back and forth about our gardening because he would like to maybe structure something more, and I want it to be more as it's growing. And that's sort of how I do my writing. For a while I did a gardening blog for Lisa Ziegler in the Gardener's Workshop, but I would take something from the garden, something from my life, something interesting, whether it's a food or a flower, and I would blend them together, and it would be a little combination of all of those things. And to me, I think writing is very much like planting a flower and then sharing it with somebody that appreciates it.
I was interested in cars that were energy efficient, 4 cylinders, but also from an engineering perspective were sophisticated. When at that time the style were big V8s, a lot of gasoline. And I just felt that I wanted something that was less energy consuming. Then when we needed a second car, I was sort of turned off on the idea of getting something new when I could buy something that somebody else had discarded and thrown away. And I could restore it and make it new again. So I bought a 1960 Mercedes. It was 24 years old at the time and worn out. And I always thought it would be interesting to take an old car and tear it apart and rebuild it. Pea soup, the inside of its engine looks as clean as the outside. And I restored it to like new condition and actually raced it for 10 years. And I met the engineer that designed the motor, the engine in that car, and he told me that, said, you know, you can, while the red line is 6,000 RPMs, you can drive it at 7,000 RPMs for 14 seconds. All right? And on 2 occasions I've actually done that. And when you're at triple-digit speeds, 14 seconds can be as much as half a mile. So, yeah. My time and effort in it, and being able to take something that is old and tossed away and driving it like when it was new. And I can honestly say that getting to any destination is as much fun, if not more fun, than being there.
We are very different in the morning. I wake up 5 or 6. I pretty much leap out of bed. I make my coffee. I putter around the house. I feed the cats. I feed the bluebirds. I walk outside with my coffee. He often gets up a couple of hours later, and I'm already sort of wired. He says, "You're distracted already," but we kind of have to meet and go outside together. So we sort of reach a point where we are both ready to walk together. It's me sort of calming down and focusing on that, and him sort of revving up to focus on that. We take our clippers, we start deadheading, we think, oh, that needs a little water. Oh, let's remember to do such and such. Sometimes I'll have a little pad and write it down. And we'll walk, and I often take pictures for Facebook of something that's coming out.
And I use that time to weed around something.
Yeah, if I'm stopping with my phone. One of us should not head off and go back in the house and do something. You wait till you're all done. Yeah, because so sometimes I've got a lot of things going in the kitchen or on my desk top writing, and I can't leave, and Robby's ready to go. But he'll say, well, I'll go back out into the garage and mess with the wires and pea soup, and you let me know when you're ready. And so when we are ready, we meet in the garden. We do our walk. We touch base with each other again and share all the little things that make our day calm and meaningful.
And I enjoy it. And I would say just about every time I go outside around the home, there's something I see for the very first time. Mm-hmm. Or if not the very first time, it's the first time that year that something has popped up.
We're starting with a little piece of our ancestral farmland. But here's this one little corner, two lots that we actually were able to save in the nick of time. We were able to save the house as well that was going to be pushed over. And we raised our family of 3 children, and now 8 grandchildren come and go here as well. And my philosophy of this garden is to keep this little 6/10 of an acre producing. I think that we just come out and tend it, because not only does it make our life beautiful, but it provides for the wildlife. And that's all part of, I think, our philosophy, is to make a home for what was displaced. And in turn, then we are sustained. It's meditative for us. It helps us focus in tough times.
For me, everything that I do and I see that we do here is with wildlife in mind. Plants that want to grow here, we let them grow. I can relax and sort of put everything else in the background, and it can set the mood for my day, reset anything that I might have been worrying about. And we've got the insects, these oak trees have hundreds of species of birds in them, and it just sort of warms my soul. I can get stuck on mechanical or electronic issues. However, it's really hard for me to walk away from those things until I've actually solved it.
That's him.
And it would be difficult for me to just sort of drop it and go out in the garden at a time like that. But as soon as I've gotten through figuring out what the issue is, you know, I get out there and sort of reset.
We have to understand each other's personalities because we are very different when it comes to some of those things. And all those differences melt away, you know, when we get into the garden, because even though we do different things or see different things, it's all the same. It's the same purpose and the same atmosphere and the same project. So that's kind of special.